Did the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids? For a while, everybody assumed they were the ones who built the pyramids, or that was the general understanding. But in recent years, there have been people who are questioning that. There is this one guy I watch on YouTube. I'm forgetting his name. Is Foster, somebody Foster, and he uploads or records videos that he travels around to ancient ruins, and he tries to investigate them. And he's one of the people who have come up with a theory that the ancient Egyptians are not the ones who constructed the pyramids, and his reason is mostly based on the tool marks that are left behind on the rocks that can be observed today in those sites. In particular, that the tool marks seem like they were created using like some high technology kind of machines that you couldn't, if you are going by the narrative that you always get from history, you couldn't think such kind of a machine will exist. And he indeed tries to do a thorough job with that theory by even inviting experts on tool marks and construction engineers and people like that. I don't know how valid his argument is, or the argument of those who think that ancient Egyptians are not the ones who constructed the pyramids. They hold that the pyramids were already there when the civilization that we know today as ancient Egypt sprang up. Like this, the Egyptians were a nomadic kind of tribe that was roaming, and then they just came across this land that had these pyramids, and then they decided to settle there, and then they owned the pyramids, and then they started saying that they are the ones who constructed them. Anyways, now let's come to what Herodotus says about this. Herodotus does tell us that when he went to Egypt, he did have a lot of conversations around this topic. And the Egyptians, of course, told him that they are the ones who constructed the pyramids, and they even told him the emperor, the kings who built specific pyramids. And in fact, in recent years, there are some pyramids that Herodotus describes in his book that nobody had seen, but recent excavations are kind of proving that some of those pyramids indeed did exist. They just maybe disappeared out of erosion or some other activity. Now, Herodotus tells us about one particular king, Cheops. Cheops was like, among the kings he describes in a line, is like the third or fourth, if I'm not wrong. And he says that Cheops constructed a very huge pyramid, and he in another video I did say that Herodotus tells us that Egyptians were very good at keeping records. They kept a record for almost everything and anything that happens on their land. So he tells us about the construction of a pyramid by Cheops, and the Egyptians give him very specific numbers, including they show him inscription on one of the pyramids, and the inscription says that it describes the quantity of radishes, onions, and garlic that was consumed by the laborers who were working on the pyramid. They also tell him that those products cost about 1,600 talents of silver. I guess that's a lot of money. And they also tell him that that pyramid, just to construct the pathway that would be used to transport the rocks from the Arabian Peninsula somewhere to the place where the pyramid was constructed, it took 10 years. And in those 10 years, there were 100,000 men working, that they were being replaced by, I think, every 6 months by a new group of men. So it was a huge construction. And then he tells us after 10 years of constructing the pathway where the rocks will be brought to the construction site, it took 20 years to build the pyramid. So it was a huge project. In fact, Herodotus tells us that the priests at the temple told him that the cost of building this pyramid was so huge and it was consuming a lot of money that Cheops had to force his daughters to basically prostitute themselves to generate money for the project. So it was a huge project. So going by what Herodotus tells us he was told by the priest at the temple, the Egyptians built the pyramids, maybe at least some of them. Of course, there is also a possibility that the priest just told him that based on them over time coming to believe that they are the ones who build the pyramids, which sounds like, I don't think that sounds like it's something that was, it's not easy to come to that conclusion, in my opinion. So I think, or going by what he was told and the information that he was able to collect, it's safe to say that the Egyptians built the temple. No, not the temple, the pyramids. And it's not Cheops alone who built a pyramid. When he died, his brother Kephren, he came to power, and he also built his pyramid. And when Kephren died, he's the son of Cheops. Came and became the son of Cheops was called Mycerinus. He also built a pyramid, but Herodotus tells us that the pyramid was not as big as what his father and his uncle had built. So yeah, going by accounts from histories by Herodotus, the Egyptians built the pyramids.